Welcome to Meet the Authors with your host, Dr. Philip Levin. This is a show about and featuring local writers here in South Mississippi. I'm delighted to be able to bring the people here into your homes to talk about their books, about their lives, about the work they've gone through to publish, and an opportunity for you to meet them and find books of interest. We have three guests today. Our first guest is Jim Fraiser, and Jim Fraiser has published 17 different books. I have a whole slew of them here that we'll be talking about. And then after that I have, for our entertainment, Norm Fowler. Norm Fowler is a partner of for his book, Stupid Genius. He and his wife have worked together to create this wonderful, very funny book about ducks. And then our third guest today, it's not about ducks, it features a duck. Our third guest is Melissa Carrigy with her new children's book, Poetry with Illustrations, A Dream of Dragons. So it's going to be an exciting show. Meet the Authors features all these writers because Mississippi has a long history of literature. From Eudora Welty, Tennessee Williams, Greg Iles. It's just a wonderful opportunity to get to know authors in the beginning and promote them. And I hope that you'll tune in every show. And after these messages, we'll be right back and start with Jim Fraiser.
$30 can really make a difference, and we're asking you to do just that.
What will your $30 buy?
A tent for a homeless person who has no place to sleep. Or
breakfast for 15 people who live in poverty. Or
a monthly bus pass for someone without transportation, and much,
much more. Make a difference for a fellow Mississippian who needs our help. Give a $30 donation today.
Mental Health Association of South Mississippi, promoting mental wellness since 1963.
Hi, I'm L.L. Lee. Are you a devoted Saints fan, or you know someone who is or was? If you are, you'll want to read my book, The Forever Saints Fan Club. It's a tribute to the New Orleans Saints and to 4 devoted fans who loved them and loved me unconditionally. You can get the books at Bay Books in Bay St. Louis or go to Amazon.com.
How you doing? It's the doctor.
And I am the doctor who writes. And I'm having a grand time today selling a lot of my books. And my best book is this one, The Tides of Mississippi. 6 first place awards across the region, and I'm really, really proud of it. It's doing very well.
Well, congratulations for such an honor.
Thanks so much. I hope you're enjoying Meet the Authors. Perhaps you're inspired to write your own book, or maybe you have a book that you want published or publicized. A great opportunity to do this is with Neil White's conference up in the Overby Center of Oxford, Mississippi on Friday, September 22nd and 23rd. You'll have best-selling authors, New York Times best-selling authors, publicists, and agents. Check out the website, www.neilwhiteworkshop.com. And welcome back to Meet the Authors. We're happy to have you join us again for our first segment on this show, and I'm honored to have with us Jim Fraiser. Hi, Jim.
Hey, Phil.
Thanks for coming.
Glad to be here.
So, boy, you've been a writer for all your life, you tell me, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's great. In 20 years, you have 17 books out. That's pretty exciting. And you're a local guy, huh?
Yeah.
Where were you born?
Born in Greenwood.
Uh-huh.
Went to Ole Miss and lived in Jackson for a long time. Now I live in the Pass.
And you're a judge here in town now?
I am.
That's amazing. That's wonderful. And boy, you got so many books out, and they're all about the South. You got both fiction and nonfiction. Pick one. Tell me what you want to talk about today.
Well, I guess to be topical, I'd gotten the idea that the coast in New Orleans might be about to be destroyed around 2005.
Yeah.
Talked to my publisher, who rarely, as you know, publishers rarely listen to what a writer has to say.
I've noticed that.
Yeah, I talked him into doing Mississippi Gulf Coast,
Uh-huh.
and then we changed it to Vanished Mississippi Gulf Coast because the hurricane hit while we were doing the project and taking the pictures.
You took pictures of the coast right before the hurricane.
Before,
huh?
during, and after.
Oh, amazing. And you have, how many pictures are in that book?
I think there's about 100.
100 different pictures, and it's just an amazing book. I've thumbed through this a little bit, and the pictures here, can you show these? Yeah, it's just incredible. Before and after scenes, it's just an amazing book. All right, tell us about the next one.
Well, so then I thought perhaps New Orleans was in danger too, so the French Quarter of New Orleans with University Press of Mississippi and the Garden District of New Orleans.
So that's before and after also?
No, this is just the history, architecture, and culture of the...
How many pages is this thing?
It's a lot.
Yeah, I'll say.
I think it's about 250 or so, color photos and text on each structure.
And when did this one come out?
I think that came out maybe in '03 or '04, and then I got the Vanished came out, of course, in '05, as did my novel Camille, which I wanted to warn the coast that I thought something was coming, and we know what happened.
Yeah. So when did the Camille book come out?
In '05 also.
And that was right before we got hit by Katrina, huh?
That's right.
That's
right.
amazing, amazingly foretelling. And now we have more hurricanes coming through.
Yes, unfortunately.
Guess we always will have them, won't we?
We will. We will.
That's great. And so these are nonfiction ones, and you have some fiction. And what do you have for us for that?
Well, my first novel was Shadow Seed, which came out in '97.
Yeah, I read it a little bit. That's about a lawyer who gets his client out of jail, and then the client starts killing people. Is that
right? That's right.
Yeah, that's a really suspenseful novel. Huh?
Yeah, and the secondary plot had his grandfather representing a not guilty individual.
Oh, yeah.
So we're comparing the way life was in the turn of the century and the present day.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's really, really fascinating stories. I really enjoy reading all your work. I haven't read them all yet. 17 books. That's pretty good. And what about this other one you got?
Well, this is the most recent one called In an Enemy's Country,
okay,
which is about domestic terrorism in America, and it strikes in Jackson, Mississippi.
Okay. And you lived in Jackson for a long time, right?
I did, yeah.
So a lot of local landmarks there. And are you going to read something for us?
I will, sure.
Yeah, I would love to hear it. Read something from one of your books.
I'll read just a very short intro into In an Enemy's Country.
And this just came out when?
This came out in 2015.
Who's your publisher?
University Press, Pelican Publishing in New Orleans. This was, I don't even know, Author House. And then Shadow Seed was an independent publisher in Montgomery.
All right, well, I'm eager to hear your reading.
All right, this is when the terrorist first arrives in Jackson, Mississippi. We don't really know who he is or what he's doing. The tall, angular, shaggy-haired man in black open-collared silk shirt, black designer jeans, and dark leather desert shoes intently eyed the woman seated on the wooden park bench before him. She lifted the strands of raven-colored hair covering her eyes and forced herself to meet his baleful glare. "What exactly do you want me to do this time?" she asked solemnly. "Quit toying with me and tell me what you need me to do." When he didn't answer, she lowered her eyes, fixing them on her shoe tops. "What must I do?" she asked again, flashing anger for the briefest moment before her eyes turned black into inscrutable obsidian discs. "Thanks for coming. I missed you." She blinked twice. "I know." He sat beside her on the bench. She looked away from him into the night. Dark gray clouds blotted the purple twilight sky. Humidity choked the air. She thought she discerned a trace of magnolia in the heavy air, but the fetid scent of urine the homeless had left in the park smothered the aroma. The clouds hung so low they clipped the tops of the massive live oak that dominated the 4-block square park. The great oak's ponderous limbs thrust out in every direction, suffocating the smaller pin oaks and magnolias standing at vaguely twisted angles, proof of their lifelong struggles for sunlight in the larger tree's shadow. She wiped beads of sweat from her brow. How could it be this hellish in December, she wondered. Before reminding herself, she now sat in the very heart of tropical Jackson, Mississippi.
That is great. I love how you develop your characters so quickly, and the suspense is vibrating through there. You're a great writer. I really
Thank you,
enjoy
Phil.
that.
So are you.
Well, thank you for saying so. So you're working on something new, I hear, too.
Well, I'm writing plays. I've started writing some plays to put on at the Bay St. Louis Little Theater.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of them. They're
Yeah.
really fun.
They're fun. I got to do them with my son, Paul,
Uh-huh.
and I had a great time, and it was a big success. So I'm going to do it again this year and focus on that.
Yeah, a great father. Everywhere you go, you bring your son. I loved having you and him at our parties and introducing. It's so much fun to be a writer. So you still work full-time as a judge and you write. How do you have time to fit all that in?
Well, as you know, you make time for what you care about, and you just do it.
Okay. Well, we've loved having you on the show. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Phil.
And tell the audience where they can get your books.
Well, all my books, all 17 of them, are on Amazon.com, Booksamillion.com, BarnesandNoble.com. But the bookstores here in town, Barnes & Noble, for example, have them, the little bookstores in the Pass and the Bay. So I think they're generally found wherever you want to go find them.
All right. Thanks again for coming.
Thank you, Phil.
So our next guest, right after the break, is going to be Norm Fowler, talking about his writing career, working as a partner with his wife. So that'll be an interesting perspective. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back after these messages. I hope you're enjoying Meet the Authors. Perhaps you're inspired to write your own book, or maybe you have a book that you want published or publicized. A great opportunity to do this is with Neil White's conference up in the Overby Center of Oxford, Mississippi on Friday, September 22nd and 23rd. You'll have best-selling authors, New York Times best-selling authors, publicists, and agents. Check out the website, www.neilwhiteworkshop.com.
Imagine an era of renewed prosperity, underwritten by a job-creating economic stimulus, powered by abundant clean energy sources. America's clean energy sector already employs more people than the oil and gas fields. So imagine the jobs that would be created if we got serious. This is our future, America. This is the plan. Visit citizensclimatelobby.org. Working together, we can build a better, more prosperous future.
A scientist, a shrimper, a historic hotel guest, an artist, a grocer, a famous TV chef. Be what you want to be. Learn what it's like to be me. Play house in the trees, travel the seas, see new sights, reach new heights, discover friends, discover fun. Lynn Meadows for children and everyone. Discover all Lynn Meadows Discovery Center has to offer at lmdc.org.
Neil White's workshops, I think, are some of the best in the whole country. He is a New York Times bestselling author who also owns a publishing house, and he's got great experience, and he pulls together a lot of really incredible experts that are top in their field, and he brings everybody together for workshops in Mississippi, and I'm really, really impressed with his work.
How you doing? It's the doctor.
And I am the doctor who writes. And I'm having a grand time today selling a lot of my books. And my best book is this one, The Tides of Mississippi. 6 first place awards across the region, and I'm really, really proud of it. It's doing very well.
Well, congratulations for such an honor.
Thanks so much.
$30 can really make a difference, and we're asking you to do just that.
What will your $30 buy?
A tent for a homeless person who has no place to sleep, or
breakfast for 15 people who live in poverty, or
a monthly bus pass for someone without transportation, and much,
much more. Make a difference for a fellow Mississippian who needs our help. Give a $30 donation today.
Mental Health Association of South Mississippi, promoting mental wellness since 1963.
And welcome back to Meet the Authors, the show about local authors. And here we are in our second segment for today's episode. And I'm very honored and pleased to have Norm Fowler. Norm Fowler is the author of this book, Stupid Genius, about a duck and the different people interacting with him throughout South Mississippi, set here on the coast. So Norm, good to see you. Thanks for coming.
Nice to be here, Philip. This is great.
So tell me about your book. Tell me about this book.
Well, it came about when a duck almost flew in the window of my truck one day, and everything just kind of evolved from there. I had been editing a novel I wrote. I found a partner to help me edit it, and we just got done. And we're ready to do something new, and it came about from there.
A duck flew into your window.
Almost did.
Yeah.
It almost did, and they hung out by the dollar store over on Washington Avenue.
And all that's right here in the book about the duck and then flying in the window and at the dollar store. And you call the duck Duck.
That's what he calls himself. He's a duck, so you know he knows what he is.
Yes, he calls himself Duck with a capital D.
That's
I like
it.
that, and he challenges people.
Yeah, he does. He does. He does.
And so, how long have you been writing?
I've been writing for a long time, but I never really got serious. Didn't have time. You know, you got to live your life. You got to work. You got to raise a kid.
That's the story of an author.
So, I got serious after I moved here, and that was right before Katrina. I mean, literally right before Katrina.
That's when you moved here?
Yeah, about 6 months before that.
So you and your wife were in Las Vegas, is what I heard. And what
Correct.
And how did you happen to choose to move here?
She works in the hospitality industry, and she was working at the Imperial Palace there. And
we moved her down.
We made a lateral move. I was flipping a house, basically. So I spent 5 years out there flipping a house. And,
so I said earlier that you and your wife worked together, but on your book writing, but that was an error on my part. So you have another partner that you met here.
Correct. She's a librarian, and she knows what people want. She reads books. She reads more than I do. And she kind of has a feel for what people want, and she kind of got involved with editing my other book, and we just decided to just write together. And sometimes it's an advantage because you get writer's block a little bit, and then you got a second set of eyes and another brain working on plots and images and dialogue.
I love it. In fact, I love so much about your book, your writing style and stuff. I just want to read just a couple of segments, and I want to have you read to the audience, if you will. But I like some of these phrases. His life had never been one of trauma and drama. I love that phrase. And then there's another one here. Near the Oklahoma state line, the clouds broke apart and morning sun soaked the road like an invitation. It's so poetic. I love writing like that.
I'll take credit for that. I have a tendency to wax poetic.
And one should.
And that's when McLean will sometimes, well, we can't be too poetic, you know. So it's a balance. It's a balance.
You start off as a poet, right? You brought a couple.
I did. Poetry had always been, writing poetry had always been my thing, and I put out since Super Genius, I put out a copy of some old poems I had laying around and a few new ones. And then Catherine and I, McLean and I, wrote poetry about writers trying to write while they're living in the real world. And that's basically what this is.
From chaos to synergy. I love that title. What a cute title.
It's about writing together. It's about team writing. And
speaking of which, let's have you read a little segment.
What I have here is I just wanted to get an idea of what Stupid Genius is about.
All right.
Okay. Stupid Genius is about Melvin, a guy who moves to Biloxi in search of his mother's family roots. He hooks up with his cousin, and what follows is a chain reaction of comical events in the vein of a Southern caper. I call it a Southern caper. The plot is driven by an over-the-top animal rights activist that owns the local newspaper, and Melvin finding his true love and a flightless duck. The subplot includes a bank robber, a tad of government corruption, a groundskeeper at a golf course that uses too much fertilizer. The cast of local characters pass through the story like a Mardi Gras parade, each colorful and unique. No matter how small a part they play, they are important to the plot and memorable to the reader. We worked really hard on trying to make realistic characters that belong here and nowhere else.
They're very, very South Mississippian. Tell us tell people where they can get your book.
Well, they could get it at Amazon, Amazon.com, and Southern Bound Books, Biloxi Visitor Center, Biloxi Seafood Museum.
All right, lots of places. Remember, everybody, Stupid Genius by Norm Fowler and Catherine McLean. So glad we could have you on the show.
Thank you, Philip. It was nice to be here.
Thank you. So our next guest is going to be Melissa Carrigy. Melissa Carrigy has published this wonderful book, I Dream of Dragons. I Dream of Dragons is a wonderful illustrated poetry book about a boy and his dreams and all that he can be. So stay tuned, and right after these messages, we'll look forward to having you come back to meet the authors.
Hi, I'm LL Lee. Are you a devoted Saints fan, or you know someone who is or was? If you are, you'll want to read my book, The Forever Saints Fan Club. It's a tribute to the New Orleans Saints and to 4 devoted fans who love them and loved me unconditionally. You can get the books at Bay Books in Bay St. Louis or go to Amazon.com.
Neil White's workshops, I think, are some of the best in the whole country. He is a New York Times bestselling author who also owns a publishing house, and he's got great experience, and he pulls together a lot of really incredible experts that are top in their field, and he brings everybody together for workshops in Mississippi, and I'm really, really impressed with his work.
How you doing? It's the doctor.
Yeah, and I am the doctor who writes. And I'm having a grand time today selling a lot of my books. And my best book is this one, The Tides of Mississippi. 6 first-place awards across the region, and I'm really, really proud of it. It's doing very well.
Well, congratulations for such an honor.
Thanks so much. I hope you're enjoying Meet